Saving Lives from the Corona Pandemic. This is a translation of a sermon preached by Reverend Vedaniya Thero, who is a spiritual leader aboard at Asgiriya Monastery, which consists of several temples in the heart of Kandy town in the central province of Sri Lanka. Reverend Vedaniya Thero abodes at the middle temple called Madamaha Viharaya, in which the famous Reverend Varyapola Sri Sumangala Thero aboded. He is known to be rehoisting the Sinhalese flag by pulling down the British flag during the time of the British rule. Reverend Vedaniya Thero has conducted a particular sermon especially focusing on combating the corona pandemic in a spiritual vision using Buddhist doctrine. This is a translation of his valuable sermon. We hope by training 24 lakhs of devotees, this island could be offered to the teaching and doctrine of the Buddha. Hence, we all will be protected and blessed by God and goddesses and combat this dreadful situation, that is corona pandemic. In Reverend Vedaniya Thero's sermon, he has stressed that we all have now encountered this vicious menace. In 10 years' time, a person's lifespan will be limited only to 10 years. Most of the people will live only for 10 years. Among these, there would be some who would join the Buddhist spiritual pathway. This group of spiritualist devotees will inherit the blessings to live 100 or more than 100 years. What we should now determine is to protect, engross, bestow spirituality and shine our island with the blessings of the Buddhist doctrine. During the historical period, whenever our ancient rulers were confronted with a crisis such as what we are facing today, the ancient rulers offered the country, or the country was blessed by the doctrine of the Buddha. This particular devotional offering is called Kalpavruksha Pujava or Sri Vibhuti Kalpavruksha Pujava, the offering to the symbolic tree of prosperity in order to obtain what you wish. You might recall during last April 2019, a spiritual ceremony called Agasas Maha Mangalya, the offering of the first yield from the paddy field to the holy temple and to the god and goddesses was held, and thereafter we offered Buddhist flags, which is another offering called Kapru Pujava, to 7 sacred places. These 7 sacred places are namely Jayasrima Bodhya, a sacred fig tree in the Mahamevana Gardens in Anuradhapura, a sacred city in the northern central province of Sri Lanka. The second sacred place is Sri Pada Adavya, domain of the sacred footprint of the Lord Buddha, situated in Ratnapura district, within Sabaragamuwa province. The third sacred place is Sri Dalada Maligava, known as the Temple of the Tooth, situated in the heart of the island in Kandy city, within the central province. The fourth sacred place is Mayangana. Mayangana Rajama Vihara is an ancient Buddhist temple in Mayangana, Sri Lanka. It is believed to be the site of Gautama Buddha's first visit to the country. The sacred domain of Katanagama on the southern province of Sri Lanka is the fifth holy place. Kalaniya Rajama Vihara, believed to be the sixth sacred domain, erected based upon Lord Buddha's third holy visit to the island, and lastly, Nagadipaya in the northern province of Sri Lanka, believed to be visited by Gautama Buddha in his second visit to this island after 5 years of attaining enlightenment to settle a dispute between two Naga kings named Chulodara and Mahodara, is the seventh sacred place. On this particular day of offering Buddhist holy flags, which is called Kapru Puja in these sacred places, we had a special sermon. This sermon that was preached mentioned the following. In the future, each and every house, 24 lakhs of houses, will hoist Buddhist flags, and they all will be guided along the Buddhist doctrine or along the Buddhist spiritual path. At the moment, we all are gathering to follow this holy spiritual pathway. We all are gathering to disseminate this precious holy message. Therefore, we all are first taking this message of hoisting the Buddhist flag, which comprises of 6 colors, and the Sinhala Kodiya. Sinhala Kodiya means the flag that was hoisted by the ancient kings of Sri Lanka, celebrating moments of victory. Also, the Sinhala Kodiya was hoisted at the dawn of the new year in the past. The Sinhala Kodiya is also referred to the flag that was hoisted by Reverend Variapalan Sri Sumangala Thero on the 2nd of March 1815 by pulling down the British flag during the rule of the British and rehoisting the Sinhala Kodiya. So we as devotees must determine and hope that an atmosphere will be created in the future to hoist these flags for the presence and existence of Maitri Lord Buddha in this blessed island. We all must determine to spread this holy message to 24 lakhs of devotees, to hoist the holy Buddhist flag, to be shine in each and every house. This flag is to be hoisted at the entrance to the house, at a distance from which one can see the flag. Parallel to the Kapru Puja or Daja Puja, hoisting the Buddhist flag, another offering called Kalpavruksha Puja or Sri Vibhuti Kalpavruksha Puja was integrated to be practiced or offered at the spiritual ceremony called Agasas Mahamangalya, the offering of the first yield from the paddy field to the holy temple and to the god and goddesses during the month of April. Kalpavruksha Pujava or Sri Vibhuti Kalpavruksha Pujava means the offering to the symbolic tree of prosperity that enables to fulfill our wishes, then saving a life by donating another life, which is called praneta pranaya. In this case, offering a coconut tree by the number of people in each and every family or more in order to save another human life is to be offered by cultivating coconut trees in ideal ground conditions in this holy motherland is called Kalpavruksha Pujava or Sri Vibhuti Kalpavruksha Pujava. To describe further, coconut plants ought to be offered by each and every family. These collected coconut plants from 24 lakhs of houses or families are to be cultivated across this motherland. Please give a hand by offering this to save our wounded motherland from this pandemic vicious coronavirus threat. As mentioned above, saving a life by donating a coconut plant and enabling to cultivate in this island is called praneta pranaya, which was mentioned above is a must. In addition, Abhayadhanamaya Pujava, which means helping the sick, struggling to live, and also offering to the ones who are in the process of developing qualities required to achieve Buddhahood, Paramita Purana, by giving or offering them cultivated herbs such as lime, curry leaves, pepper, Cambogia, and acid fruit, then tamarind and turmeric, which are used very often, and cultivating fruits and vegetables, which are also used very often, and long-term crops such as jack, mango, etc., to be cultivated each and every possible environment. As this is enabling someone to survive, this becomes Abhayadhaname Pujava. To describe further, by cultivating leafy vegetables such as gotukola, mukruvanna in your own backyard near the kitchen, and getting your children to plant a jasmine plant in such a way that the plant is visible to the front main door and front window, and watering these plants using holy water which you offer daily to Lord Buddha as a ritual is to be practiced. This is another practice which you need to inculcate in yourselves. This is the only path for the humans to join the path to follow the Buddhist doctrine. It is this commitment and dedication that would help to combat this island, which is suffering from this vicious menace. This is the only way to protect your loved ones as well. Due to this pandemic, you all have been given certain instructions to follow. For example, cover your mouth, nose, using a mask. Be aware when touching something. Maintain a distance between one another when meeting one another. That's why we especially stress that time has now come for all lay devotees to live a solitude holy life. We all have to follow this, hence need to practice this way of living. We all are now trapped by the universal law. When one is taken into custody, such a person is given exercises to follow. First exercise is to follow the 5 precepts, to refrain from taking life, that means killing any living creature, to refrain from taking what is not freely given, that is theft, to refrain from misuse of the senses, to refrain from wrong speech, i.e. lying or gossiping, to refrain from intoxicants that cloud the mind, that means drugs or alcohol. Then the second exercise is to follow the 8 precepts. Undertake the precept to refrain from destroying living creatures. Undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given. Undertake the precept to refrain from misuse of your senses. Undertake the precept to refrain from incorrect speech. Undertake the precept to refrain from intoxicating drinks and drugs, which lead to carelessness, and undertake the precept to refrain from eating at the forbidden time. Undertake the precept to refrain from dancing, singing, music, going to see entertainments, wearing garlands, using perfumes, and beautifying the body with cosmetics. Undertake the precept to refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place. And the third exercise is to adhere to the 10 precepts. Consists the above 8 and further expands another 2 precepts, which is undertake the precept to refrain from lying on high or luxurious sleeping place, And the last is undertake the precept to refrain from accepting gold and silver, which means money. The person who follows the 5 precepts must continue to train his or her life accordingly. Same with the person who follows the 8 and the 10 precepts. If not, we will be trapped by this corona menace and will not be in a position to combat. To elevate yourself from the current position to a much more higher position, what you should do is to concentrate on the way you breathe. In other words, be mindful when you inhale and exhale. The way to overcome from this threatening disease is practicing Anapanasati, a Buddhist meditation method, which is mindfulness of breathing. In other words, concentrating only on inhaling and exhaling. This has been especially brought into your attention because to save the lives of the people, convey this message to the entire world. There isn't any other way out. Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo sattanam visuddhya soka paridevanam samatikkamaya dukkadoma nasana. Take this precious message to others. Natti me saranang anyo buddho me saranang varang dhammo me saranang varang sangho me saranang varang. Then concentrate on disseminating this precious message to others. Therefore, hoisting a Buddhist flag in every house, growing a plant in every home, Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhayana, reciting the Buddha's words and reciting Buddhist sutras more than thrice a day, which means at 5 a.m., 3 p.m. and 9 o'clock in the night. During these holy times, recite Tun Sutra, which consists of Mahamangala Sutra, Ratana Sutra and Karaniya Metta Sutra. Also, Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhayana means reciting the Buddha's words. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and tenderly. In the evening at 5 p.m. practice Brahmamurti Vandanava, which includes reciting of Itipiso, Swakato, Supatipanno, which are the noble qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and chanting the Lord Buddha's ability of comprehending anything, which is called Samma Sambuddha, for 21 times, and Tun Sutra, which consists of Mahamangala Sutra, Ratana Sutra, and Karaniya Metta Sutra. After that, recite a phrase from Mahasatipatthana Sutra. These activities or practices must be done regularly by yourself. When you are sick or in the middle of a crisis, in order to overcome such a scenario, recite the stanza from Mahasatipatthana Sutra. This has to be recited very often. You have to be doing these activities in a holistic manner often. This message has to be shared from house to house as how to recite. Also, they all need to be informed that they are compelled to do Vishwakarma Puja by themselves, which means producing something extraordinary using natural products or elements in a very original manner by themselves. This Vishwakarma Puja is also called as Nishpadana Puja, providing alms to the Buddha using homegrown fruits and vegetables should not be neglected at any moment. What we as devotees must consume is the crops harvested and allocated as offerings for the relics of the Lord Buddha. Also, we can use vegetables and fruits grown in the gardens of devotees who practices these rituals to the relics of the Buddha, which is called Sarvagya Dhatun Mahanse. The suffering who are striving to live ought to be given such crops and nothing else. Let's now recall a sermon preached by Lord Buddha to one of his disciples named Anuruddha Thero. Anuruddha Thero at one point says the following to Lord Buddha: "My Reverend, the water what we have here is not clean and not suitable for drinking purpose. Then filter the water using a cloth as a strainer." Lord Buddha replied to Anuruddha Thero's question. Anuruddha Thero once again says the same old answer to Lord Buddha. As a result, Lord Buddha commands Anuruddha Thero to use several filters to purify the water. However, Anuruddha Thero's answer was the same: "There are germs in this water." Then Lord Buddha asks Anuruddha Thero to show this to others nearby, whether they can see germs in this water. Others' answer was, "No, there are no germs in this water. It is drinkable." As a result, Lord Buddha advised Anuruddha, his disciple, "Do not look at water using your divine eye. This water cannot be purified in any way. There is no specialist to purify this water either. Likewise, there are several things which cannot be purified. Those are namely food and water. Until we use it for consumption, we do not know whether it was suitable or not suitable for consumption. That's the reason why we should practice Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjayana, repeating the meaning. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a word or verse rhythmically and in a kind manner. Reciting the Buddha's words and reciting Buddhist sutras more than thrice a day, which means at 5 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 o'clock in the night. During these holy times, recite Tun Sutra, which consists of Mahamangala Sutra, Ratana Sutra, and Karanametta Sutra. In the evening, at 5 p.m., practice Brahmamurti Vandanava, which includes reciting of Itipiso, Swakato, Subhatipanno, which are the noble qualities of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and chanting the Lord Buddha's ability to comprehend anything, which is called Samma Sambuddha, for 21 times, and Tun Sutra, which consists of Mahamangala Sutra, Ratana Sutra, and Karanametta Sutra. After that, recite a phrase from Mahasatipatthana Sutra. By practicing the above, we will be cleansing the food and water for consumption. Likewise, there are so many different things that fall on the ground. This ground also cannot be purified by any medicine. The other fact is there is no way of purifying the air around us. This body cannot be purified using any kind of medicine. This mind cannot be cleansed using medicine. There is only one way out, that is Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjayana, which we described earlier, which means Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjayana, repeating the first meaning. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and in a kind manner. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and tenderly. Asajjaya mala matta. Food, water can be transformed to a living being. This ground and the environment can be transformed to a living being. The air can be transformed to a living being. The body can be transformed to a living being. This mind can be transformed to a living being. All these can happen solely by Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhana. Reiterating the meaning, first inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word, rhythmically and in a kind manner. First, inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and in a kind manner. These 5 elements contaminated with all kinds of germs, namely food and water, the ground, the air, the body and mind, can be purified only via Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhana. Repeating the meaning, first inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and tenderly. Above these contaminated elements were brought into your attention on the October Poya Day sermon, which is called Vapmangalya. At the dawn of the above-mentioned Vapmangalya, which was held last October 2019, the sermon stressed the fact that to be alert and start preparing for cultivation. Just cultivating alone in your compound is not sufficient. You must take every action to cultivate across the entire island. Had you all devotees initiated to commit yourself to cultivate plants across the island, we as a nation wouldn't have faced this current catastrophe. We, all as people, we can see the world. We can understand the Buddhist noble teachings. We can develop and inculcate qualities which is called paramita, required to Buddhahood. For example, perfection in giving, dana paramita, etc. Having had the strength of combating this pandemic vicious crisis, we all as devotees of the Lord Buddha neglected our duties to the society. Hence we all are now suffering due to this calamity. This is the way we see at this critical period. Towards the end of April, during the ceremony of prosperity called Agasas Mahamangalya, the offering of the first harvest from the paddy field to the Lord Buddha, to the holy temple and to the god and goddesses during the month of April, this crisis may divert towards another direction. The rulers of the country are taking all actions and precautions to subside and eradicate this virus from the country. Sometimes the mask that we have been instructed to wear could be a culprit for the menace. How? If your hand gets contaminated with a germ by touching something, accidentally we may touch this mask. As a result, automatically one is prone to get infected by this dangerous virus, thus end up spreading the germ to others. Not only this, today we are in a digitalized world. I believe in the future the phone, computer, video recorders, radios could be causes for another kind of menace in the future to come. As a result, in the next 8 years to come, we would face a severe crisis in finding food for survival. To overcome the future problem, the path practiced by Singha Vanshika, Shakya Vanshika, Surya Vanshika, Chandra Vanshika, Buddhankura, Mahasammata Manu Parampara and Sakkiti Raja should be adhered. It is because the above hailing from the 7 pedigrees called Satmutu Paramparava established our country in the past as Hilaye Mahabhanda Gharya, which means the island was stored with all the indispensable necessities of the consumers in the island, and establish our island as the Peradiga Dhanya Gharya, which means our island was stored with all the indispensable necessities for the entire eastern range in the world. Satmutu Parampara or the 7 pedigrees can be defined in the following manner. Singha Vanshika, the people who hail from this pedigree when they are in different postures, namely sleeping, standing, walking and sitting, and when they use their 6 senses, namely eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, they practice according to Satara Satipatthana Sutra. Not only that, they always live in the present moment, which is called Satya. Shakya Vanshika, the ones who hail from this pedigree, follows the following lifestyle. Both monk or priest, including Bhikkhu Bhikkhuni, and both female and male devotees, take their meals only twice a day, soon after the holy spiritual rituals are offered. They wholeheartedly stick to the Buddhist doctrine when practicing their lifestyle. Surya Vanshika, the ones who practice the rituals according to the Buddhist teachings, looking after everybody, providing with clothes, food and beverages, providing shelter and lastly giving medicine. All these 4 are called Sivapasa. In addition, the people hailing from this pedigree transforms the place they live to a very prosperous place, rich with all the necessities for human survival. Chandra Vanshika, the ones belong to this pedigree, are being blessed to control the sun, the rain, the wind, the fire, the moon and stars. Buddhankura, the ones who comes from this pedigree limits their meal only to 1 meal, has attained golden peace of nirvana, or has fulfilled all the qualities called paramita to attain Buddhahood. Mahasammata Manu Parampara, such a person who belongs to this pedigree has the power to control the universe towards the humanity world. Each and everybody of this pedigree looks after others as their own child and has the qualities to be adorned to the throne of Sakkviti, the king who heals the entire universe. Sakkviti Raja, Sakkviti Ravana means the person who shines the entire universe from the light of the Buddhist doctrine. The practice of the above-mentioned Satmutu Parampara needs to be declared and disseminated across the entire universe as a spiritual message. This is the path which we need to follow by learning from the people who belong to the 7 pedigrees. Now, we must realize the gravity of not thinking about one another, which has brought us to this catastrophe today. Therefore, we all must consider to heal the world as well as the island by fulfilling our duties and responsibilities. As Lord Buddha told his disciple Anuruddha Thero, this world can be cleansed only by reciting and preaching the Buddhist doctrine and practicing the Buddha Bhashya Dharma Sajjhayana. Repeating the meaning, first inhale a deep breath and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically or in a kind manner. There is no way of combating the 5-fold traps, Pancha Uvadura. Namely, as mentioned above, contaminated food and water, second, ground and the environment, the air, the body, and the fifth being the contaminated mind. Once our island is healed, then disseminate to other parts of the world by spreading the teaching of the Buddha. Now the time has come for us to do our duty to the society. If you fulfill this, you can obtain the qualities that one needs to have to achieve Buddhahood, which is called Paramita. Through this, you can get the consent to become a Buddha. This is called Vivarana Labhima. During the ancient times of Lord Buddha, there was a similar catastrophe as we are facing today. There was a city which was badly hit by a similar catastrophe. This city is called Vishala Mahanuvara. This city faced three types of crises, namely, people were scared by the devils, which is called Yakshabhya. Diseases were spreading across the city. There was flooding, windstorm, cyclone, people were suffering from hunger, etc. These were called Durbhikshabhya. The third crisis is called Amanushabhya, which means suffering from the unseen devilish world. There were dead bodies all over the city. Nobody went near the dead. The dead were unattended. People were so scared of this catastrophe at Vishala. The threefold crisis at Vishala was spreading across the city in a similar kind of way to the coronavirus infection spreading across the world. You all might be knowing, during the time when this city of Vishala was highly affected, Lord Buddha addressed his disciples in the following way. Dear monks, it is high time for you all to visit the suffering city Vishala. In spite of the threatening situation at Vishala, Lord Buddha commanded his disciples to face the problem and not to give up. Lord Buddha's order was for the disciples to go from house to house, go from village to village, preach and recite the Buddha's noble words and doctrine, and practice Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjayana, repeating the meaning. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically in a kind manner. After reciting this, heal the suffering from the supreme qualities of the teaching of the Buddha. Do recite the Buddhist doctrine to be heard within a distance of 6 feet, bhabaya, parallel to our breathing process. When you recall the sermon conducted by Reverend Vedaniya Thero 3 months back, it was very clearly highlighted the importance of practicing the breathing exercises. Hence, the sick can be cured only by practicing the breathing exercises. The people or the devotees who are capable of reciting the Buddhist sutras, chantings, must encourage others by getting them involved and help them to recite. The ones who are only capable of listening, the devotees must encourage and create a suitable atmosphere for them to listen to the noble teachings of the Buddha. When reciting, one should take notice that the same sutra should not be repeated on and on. One Buddhist sutra or chanting should be recited only 7 times. Having recited 7 times, another Buddhist sutra to be recited. There are more than 17,000 Buddhist sutras, so one must determine to somehow recite these sutras and obtain blessings within his or her lifetime. Firstly, determine and then join to the path to combat the threatening situation. If someone joins this path, we will have to offer Dhamma books that consist of the teachings of the Buddha to each and every person. Once one Buddha Sutra is completely recited, the next book must be given to continue. Therefore, recite Brahmamurti Vandanava at 5 a.m., which includes reciting of Itipiso, Swakato, Supatipanno, which are the noble qualities of Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and chanting the Lord Buddha's ability of comprehending anything which is called Samma Sambuddha for 21 times, and Tun Sutra, which consists of Mahamangala Sutra, Ratana Sutra, and Karnimetta Sutra, and re-recite Brahmamurti Vandanava at 5 p.m. After that, recite a phrase from Mahasatipatthana Sutra. Reciting the noble words of Buddha itself is not enough. In other words, Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhana, repeating the meaning, first inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and in a kind manner. Practicing this in one place is not sufficient. It never can cleanse the environment. The air cannot be purified. This Buddhist spiritual path has to be practiced not only in one place, but in the entire places in the island. Going back to the historical era, there were two main figures who were involved in establishing Buddhism in the country. They are namely Mihiru Thero and Sanghamitta Bhikkhuni. Mihiru Thero visited the island when the country was suffering from 5 epidemic crises. For this, he had to establish Buddhism in the island. Hence, Mihiru Thero created an atmosphere for the holy arrival of Sanghamitta Thero to visit each and every city, each and every village, to spread the teachings of the Buddha. As Lord Buddha dispersed his disciples to Vishala Manuvara, Mihiru Thero followed the same path adhered by the Lord Buddha and got down Sanghamitta Theraniya, adorned with sivpasa, food and water, clothing, medicine and shelter, to Anuradhapura, a sacred religious area in the country. Mihiru Thero got the devotees to recite one Buddhist sutra. The devotees were trained to recite as well. These devotees practiced this in their villages. On the following day, another group of devotees used to come to the place where Mihiru Thero was residing. They were also trained to recite Buddhist sutras. Eventually, 84,000 villagers, 24 lakhs of houses, 28,000 villages were exposed, and the Buddhist teachings were sent across as a message. Another important message to be highlighted is 1 billion god and goddesses and Mahabrahma, the great gods, were invited to protect and look after the devotees who do all the rituals with the 28 Lord Buddhas, namely Tannankaro, Medankaro, Saranankaro, Deepankaro, Konagamano, Sumano, Revato, Sobito, Anomadasi, Paduma, Narada, Sumedo, Sujato, Piyadasi, Dhammadasi, Konagamano, Kassapa, etc., and Gautama. For example, if today was devoted to Konagamano Lord Buddha, today there will be 1 billion god and goddesses will be waiting to look after and protect those devotees. Tomorrow, another set of billion god and goddesses will be waiting to look after and protect those devotees who does the rituals to another Lord Buddha. Likewise, there will be 28 billion god and goddesses waiting to look after and protect those devotees who have devoted that particular day to the Lord Buddha that they have selected. In addition, the stupa, which comprises the relics of the Buddha, the statue of the Lord Buddha, the bo tree under which Lord Buddha attained enlightenment, are called Trividha Chetin Vahanse. The devotees that take care of the stupa, the Buddha statue, and the bo tree are also being looked after by 1 billion gods and goddesses for each respectively. Likewise, a command was made by the Lord Buddha. In addition, there were another 1 billion gods and goddesses to look after the devotees who does the rituals of the relics Sarrakyadatun Mahanse of the Lord Buddha. Now, all these devotees are being protected by 32 billion gods and goddesses. These devotees are getting the blessings and protection from gods. These devotees ought to develop the qualities which are called paramita, required to obtain Buddhahood. These devotees have now practiced dhanaya, the act of giving, Shramadhanya, the act of doing of service physically or spiritually. They have practiced Buddha Bhasita Dharma Sajjhanya, repeating the meaning. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and in a kind manner. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and in a kind manner. These devotees have practiced Buddha Bhoga Dhanya, prepared by taking the first yield, could be paddy, coconut, fruits, vegetables, herbs, etc., cultivated and looked after by themselves and offered to the Lord Buddha. The rest to be allocated to somebody who is struggling to survive. Anumodana Pujava is another ritual to be practiced. This is an offering done by devotees who does the offerings together. The other offering type is Shadayatana Puja, which means practicing dharana, the act of giving, Shramadhana, the act of doing a service physically or spiritually. They have practiced Buddha Bhasita Dharma Sajjhanya, repeating the meaning. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and tenderly. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and in a kind manner. Manipulating the 6 senses, namely the eyes, ears, nose, body, tongue, and mind. Akhanda Vatavate Pujava, which means practicing a spiritual act daily as your daily routine. When you determine that you would never ever forget to follow a particular routine at a specific time and practice it wholeheartedly, it is called practicing Akhanda Vatavate Pujava with Dutanga. These devotees who practice Buddha Bhoga Dhanya, Anumodana Pujava, Shadayatana Pujava, Akhanda Vatavate Pujava with Dutanga can get together to the spiritual path of looking after and taking care of the mighty Lord Buddha's rituals. Will also be protected by 1 billion gods and goddesses. This makes the total of 33 billion gods' blessings. This path is now open. Hence, everybody must come forward and get together without engaging in anything else but engaging in the practice of protecting and caring the suffering. This enables you to qualify even to attain Buddhahood through fulfilling paramita, the qualities of nurturing in one's own self, in order to attain Buddhahood. If not, We will be victims of this dreadful corona pandemic. Therefore, by sending this message to many and sharing your know-how to recite the sutra, etc., to the devotees, we can protect ourselves. Once you have done your service and practiced what was preached, you will be protected. Another fact to be mentioned is one day Lord Buddha addresses his disciples in the following manner. Monks, would you like to go to the heaven called Tautisa? Would you like to go to this heaven? Meet the god and goddesses, see how they look, identify their color and form and live with them. If so, visit Visala Mahanuwara. God and goddesses lived in the city of Visala Mahanuwara in the form of human beings. These god and goddesses were born as human beings, not because of anything else, but because you all disciples visited house to house, teaching the doctrine of the Buddha and taking the effort to train them to recite the doctrine of the Buddha. It is because you recited the holy words of the Buddha by going from place to place. It is significant to note that the devotees who are in the process of attaining Buddhahood by practicing the qualities required would come to your doorstep due to the fact that you all recited the Buddhist Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhayana, repeating the meaning. First inhale the deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or a word rhythmically and tenderly. Also because of Buddha Bhoga Dhana, which means you yourself cultivated paddy, coconut, fruits and vegetables, and medicinal herbs, and offered the first precious yield to the Lord Buddha as an offering. Also because you practice Kalparuksha Puja and Sri Vibodhi Kalparuksha Puja, which means the offering of the symbolic tree of prosperity by bestowing coconut plants from each and every house. These collected coconut plants from 24 lakhs of houses are to be cultivated in this motherland. Also because you all are getting ready for the Agasas Mahapuja, which means offering the first harvest from one's paddy field or any other field, and offer the precious harvest to the Lord Buddha and to the god and goddesses. As a result of practicing the above holy practices, the devotees who are inculcating qualities to qualify Buddhahood comes to your doorstep. To take the noble Buddhist doctrine as a message from one place to another, you need to be trained. Now is the ideal time to convey this message to the world. We work to earn a living. We must also earn a living for another by sharing what we possess. This portion to be shared by others is now being stored, preserved in the sacred middle temple called as Medamaha Vihara at Asgiriya Monastery. In the near future, there are some duties to be complied by you, because some are suffering from hunger, dying due to hunger, some are affected by the virus and are striving for survival, and some are dead. Therefore, a spiritual mobile system of disseminating the teachings of the Buddha and sutras is to be implemented. This would enable to give Buddha Bhoga Dhana, which means you yourself cultivated paddy, coconut, fruits and vegetables and medicinal herbs, and offer the first precious yield to the Lord Buddha as an offering. Then you can teach other devotees to recite Buddha Bhashita Dharma Sajjhayana, repeating the meaning. First inhale a deep breath, and while releasing your breath or exhaling, recite a verse or word rhythmically and tenderly. These can be given to others via the spiritual mobile system as a Dharma Aushadha, which means the Buddhist doctrine to be a sort of medication for the sick and suffering. In the next few decades to come, there could be a strong and powerful princesses emerging from your families who face the path of healing. We are gradually moving towards such a pathway. This pandemic threat is something unavoidable. However, we must protect the suffering. If not, we all will be victims of this dreadful attack. In order to create a better world, at least come forward and carry this message via electronic media or by visiting house to house, carrying this message and teaching them how to worship the Lord Buddha by carrying this sacred message. This will help at least to save a life. In the past, there had been situations where certain sick and wounded were not attended to. They were just neglected, left without any treatment or any other caring. There was a little boy during the time of Lord Buddha who was first facing a similar ill treatment. Matta Kundali is the name of this little boy. He became a god because of Lord Buddha. We are facing a similar situation like this neglected, cornered little boy. Today, due to this corona epidemic, people are living in solitude. No one to get close to, no one to build up friendship either. Today, the people are striving in a similar way to Matta Kundali little boy struggling to survive. The time when the curfew was imposed onto our island, just go back and think how much people suffered, especially the poor. The people were living in pain. We must hence learn to allocate food whenever you are having a meal. People should not by any means waste food and water. Please protect these resources and please try to share things between us. Any being in this world would certainly need food and water at the moment of striving and struggling while trapped in the dead bed. Hence, we must as a group get together to put this into practice. That is why we have decided to travel between places to places, taking the Buddhist doctoral message via a holy and sacred mobile system taken in procession. Please convey this message to your neighbors, villagers. Amidst obstacles, this Buddhist Dhamma Yatrava, the holy Buddhist mobile system, is to be taken in procession. This special Buddhist mobile system is to be adorned with the holy relics of the Buddha. Is planned to be traveling from place to place, village to village. Therefore, there has to be at least 28 families from each village. Once this setup is created in your village, please inform us. After that, we would accommodate the needful. In addition, incense sticks, wicks, oil will be given to the devotees who will join this path with us. These are given to the devotees in the pure intention of safeguarding the island and transform this country to a Buddhist kingdom blessed with the Buddhist doctrine. So let us join hand in hands to this precious service of spreading the rays of the Buddha across the island and save the suffering lives from this dreadful attack.